Hi, this is Kathy Hale, and I'm here to talk about question 762B. I'll kind of repeat the question so it provides sort of a frame for my answer. The question is, what steps are you taking to promote trust and shared responsibility in your school or district? How do you facilitate and support the management of diversity within teams? And how does educational research support your school's or district's professional learning culture? So I'd like to take a look at a situation at our school that happened, I guess, on the topic of diversity that created a lot of conflict and a lot of issues. We recently, actually not recently, maybe a year ago during COVID, had some social media posts, student to student social media posts that were racist, sexist, and homophobic. And they received a lot of attention because I think that media found out about them. And it really created a lot of conversations at our school about the extent to which we can call students to have some responsibility over things that they post in social media when it impacts the learning environment. And this, I think, this topic of social media posts that are inappropriate with high school students has really been around for a long time, but I think that because of possibly some of the politics involving situations where George Floyd being murdered really raised awareness about this, how people who are diverse are not treated in equitable fashions in society in general. And that kind of is something that is part of our schools too, because schools are reflections of society. So our admin team and our team leadership really struggled with trying to figure out how to get ahead of this so that we're not just reacting to things that are racist and sexist and homophobic, but we're actually kind of leading the way in trying to explore and dismantle systems and ways of doing things that sort of promote that kind of behavior or even let that behavior exist on campus. I know that prior to this year, we have a Black student union that has kind of expressed frustration that the adults aren't doing more to make change happen and really just reacting when things happen. So with our principal worked with the admin team, all stakeholders, teachers, students, staff, and asked for people who would be interested in joining an equity coalition. And this equity coalition is basically what I was talking about before, trying to get a group together to get ahead of these things happening rather than constantly just trailing commentary when bad things do happen. So this coalition is led by a professional named Dr. Stephen Dorsey. He really is a leader in this field, and he's sort of our guru on how to make schools more equitable, and in particular dismantle systems that either are intentionally or unintentionally racist, sexist, or homophobic. So with students, with teachers, with admin, we've had a number of meetings. We usually meet about once a month after school. Topics include LGBTQ conflicts on campus, using the preferred pronouns. I learned myself that just by using the preferred pronoun with students who are non-binary, that is enormously helpful in them in being recognized for who they are. It reduces suicide rates. So that was one meeting topic. Other topics include grading protocol, how to be equitable with students who have different grading resources at home and different challenges that they face, how to grade in a way that is equitable, which has always been a struggle for teachers who basically want to have the same rule for all the students. So that's another huge topic of conversation. And so this ongoing conversations about, and then there was one other incident that we had a dance in the fall, and there was a section for boys and a section for girls to check in. And being the person who checked kids in, we realized that for some kids that was actually kind of a big deal. Being, on the boy line or girl line when you're non-binary is super awkward and super confusing. So kind of it was a good forum for us to talk about these issues and how to listen with an open mind, open heart, how to dismantle systems that are inequitable for gender, bathrooms. Another topic is preferred names. We have a number of students who are born with one name, but then they identify as a different gender, and they wish to be called that. And so there are lots of really complex and interesting conversations on this front. So going back to the question, the CIPSL tenet was a culture in which staff engages in individual and collective professional learning. I think this Equity Coalition is doing just that, and it's really helping us grow and to become a more inclusive and more equitable school for everybody from staff to students to stakeholders.